marking the teeth that form the cow catcher on ASL number 100, so that they can be identified as to what we did, Seashore Trolley Museum 2008. And then I will also stamp these numbers and letters into the end.
Why are you stamping it?
So that they can be mated to the supports that are on the car.
And so they'll be seen after we paint these.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 on these, because it's the number 2 end. You understand?
I understand.
Comprendez-vous?
This is called the trolley. Are you on?
Yep.
Yeah, this is called the trolley boards, which support the trolley base. This morning we took that apart, and in order to make it so that we could move it, we've taken the top off the lower part. That base, the base of the base, is got to be removed also, partly because of weight and partly because it's on top of the screws that hold these trolley boards on. When the locomotive was built, it had one trolley base, just as it does here. Then, later on, at the very last year of its operation, in fact, I think only a few months of operation, they put 2 bases on. But when we brought it to Seashore with the 2 bases on, we converted it back to only 1, which is how it ran all but a few months of its life. These boards are very heavy oak. They're Seashore that were put on, and they're screwed down through oak cleats, which we made. And in trying to unscrew the screws that hold these down, we find that number 1, they're rusted in place, and number 2, it's almost impossible to turn them with a screwdriver. So what we're using is a tiger saw, which is like a sawzall, to cut the screws off. Then when we get down to the cleats underneath, if we can't get the screws out of that, then we're going to have to split those, because there's no way to get under without destroying the roof. So we will demonstrate how rapidly this works. There's an example of one of the screws that this one we did take out, but that was a rarity. Actually, there's another one over here on the side that came out. But if we get any more than that, that'll be a bonus. Nothing to it. Along beside this is a big heavy wire. This is what they call the trolley lead. It's connected to the bottom of the trolley base, which in turn has the trolley pole on it, which we have long since removed. So the electricity goes down through here, follows this wire, goes into the end of the cab, and there's a big switch called the circuit breaker inside, which is connected to it. This is original wire, and we will use it because there's nothing up here that's grounded or anything that anybody would touch, so the insulation is just a bonus. It doesn't really need to have any. So we will save it, use it again. We found the bolts that held the trolley base on kind of neck down, and it wouldn't have been too long before they would have rusted through and the trolley base would have pulled right off the roof. Yeah, this is the end of the roof, the number 1 end, and there are screws here which replace the nails, because the nails just wouldn't have pulled this down and made everything pull up tight. These boards were had raised up, and so everything was screwed down. The roof is covered with a lightweight canvas. I think this is a number 10 white duck, natural duck. Notice there's no paint on this side, and there is some paint on this side. They used, the higher the number, the lighter the weight, and we prefer to use number 8, which was the standard. I don't know why this was used. I think maybe at the time this was done 50 years ago or so, it was the only thing that they could get. the problem with the heavier weight stuff is they don't make it in a full range of widths, and we may have to seam it down the middle and get to, I think it'll be about, well, I can tell you exactly how long it'll be. I think it'll be 5 feet. Let's see how correct I am. Yep, so we'll use 2 5-foot pieces with a slight overlap in the middle and overlap on the sides. The canvas is painted originally with a white lead paint, but this, since we put this on, that's not what's here. And it was some kind of a graphited paint that we were experimenting with at the time. We don't really know what the color was, but we're going to assume it was some kind of a red, or it could have been black. We just don't know. But this is no good, as you can see, and we're going to tear that off. We are doing something different now. Because our cars sit so long outside, we're going to use a stain, which is a thinner paint, and it will soak through so that they will not have a raw underside. Now, this didn't rot, but we have had trouble with water getting in and rotting the canvas because the other side is unprotected. The roof itself is a little bit heavier on this car. The wood is thicker than it is on most cars. It's about a 3/4 or 7/8 inch tongue and groove, and the kind of wood, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's a southern pine or a fir, and some of it's good and some of it's not. But what we're going to do is, after we take the trolley boards off and the canvas off, then we'll brush it off and see how smooth it is. And some of the pieces, like over behind me here, I think, you really can't see it. There was some patch. This is where the smoke pipe came out, and for some reason Seashore patched it up because they didn't at that time think they were going to put a stove back in, but we are in this because it was in there right up until the locomotive stopped operation. You can see down the other end we've started sanding, and what we will do, we'll sand the whole roof down or re-nail it first and then sand it down so that it doesn't show the boards when it's all done. Over on the other side, the car's left, you can see how that narrow stretch along the edge was done. The roof now all the way around has a new tack molding, so that it'll be a good place to nail the canvas down. And then over that, after the canvas is down, there'll be a half-round molding, which we have yet to make. So I guess that's